Okay, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to do a short tutorial video, something a little bit different. I'm working on a project at work, and while I was working on it, building this tool, I was reminded of a concept that I used to struggle with a lot, and I kind of was able to just fly through it and it wasn't really an issue for me. So I was like, you know what, when I get home, I'm gonna make a little tutorial video. So I'm home. So basically, I'm just going to be making a little short video about list comprehension. I'm going to be using Python for this. So, I'm going to create a list with a bunch of numbers, and the goal of this is going to be to print all of the even numbers, not the odd ones. And I see I'm doing a bunch of even numbers, so that should be fine. So we got a list here, nums, and then I'm going to create another empty list, right, called even. Throw an S on there, evens. So without list comprehension, right, how would a person, most likely, how would the regular person try to go through this list, iterate through this list, hint, like it's not on the screen, iterate through this list and find the even numbers out of here, right? So most people would iterate through it like I just said. So we're going to use a for loop, and you see the Copilot kicking in, right? So for num in nums, so num is each number in this list here. Nums is the name of the list, right? Then we're going to drop down, and inside of that for loop, we're going to put this if statement that you see. So if num mod 2 equals 0, what that just means is if num, which is, each element in this list nums, mod 2, mod is about the remainder. So don't think divide, but think what is the remainder if you were to divide. If the remainder is going to be 0, that means the number's even, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2, but there's nothing left over, right? That's 2 is an even number. If it's not 0, then it's an odd number, if it's 1 or something like that. And then at the end here, we got evens.append num, and that'll put all that stuff in that empty list. So if we were to come down here and then outside or on the same level as this for loop and put this statement, right? The print statement, we ran that. Okay, and you see we got the even numbers in the list right here, right? So that's how usually people would do it if they weren't using any sort of list comprehension, right? So in total, we've got, if you take out this space, in total, we've got 6 lines of code in total, right? But when you're writing code and stuff, you should want to be as efficient as possible and not use a bunch of lines if you don't have to and you want your stuff to be clean. So that's where list comprehension comes in, right? So instead of me busting out that for loop and then the if statement and all that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to evens where I had this empty list here, right? I'm going to do num, not nums, that's trying to get me to do num, and then we're going to do for, just tab it out. So num, which is, remember, each element in this list, for num in nums, so that's that iteration right there. If num, which is again the element, mod 2 is equal to 0, so if the remainder is 0, then we're going to come down here and we're going to print evens, right? And then we run this, and that's also going to give us a list of even numbers. I didn't put in the print statement, the whole even numbers thing like I put up here, but still we get that same list of even numbers. So as you can see, as opposed to 6 lines of code, we cut that in half, and now we just have 3 lines of code, and it's doing all the same things. Minus, even if I add that, right, it's not going to add another line. So if I add that little string right there. So that's just a little tutorial on list comprehension. Hopefully that made sense to you guys. I feel like I was able to explain it well enough. If you have any questions, just leave questions in the comments and I'll answer those and see if I can help you further. But hopefully you won't have any questions. Hopefully I did a good job. So, all right, that's all I got for the video today. Have a good one.